Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to the YouTube channel of Aviation Made. Today we will be discussing about education loan for commercial pilot license. We'll be discussing everything about the requirements, why should we focus upon educational loan, different type of educational loan banks that provide educational loan for commercial pilot training, and things that you should be careful about while applying for your educational loan. So the question arises that why a student prefers for an educational loan over a personal loan or any loan against property. So mostly when a student is applying for an educational loan, a student generally doesn't have an income. A bank needs a proof of income to give or disperse a loan to a student. But as a student does not have any income, the bank allows the student to get an educational loan with co-applicants as two guardians who work or who are as guarantors in the educational loan with the student, so that the student can get the funding for his education loan, which he by his own earning can repay later to the bank once he is employed and earning and starts to earn. The education loan provides you with something called as moratorium period. A moratorium period is a period when you are throughout during your course or after 6 even 1 month of the completion of your course, you are allowed a period where you are not supposed to pay any EMI on the loan that you have taken, and all the interest and the principal cumulatively will be charged only after the moratorium period once a student is employed and starts earning. So the question now arises that, do banks provide loan for commercial pilot license training? And the answer is a big yes. All the nationalized banks like Bank of Baroda, Punjab National Bank, Union Bank, State Bank of India, and private banks such as HDFC Bank and ICICI Bank, IndusInd Bank, and other banks. So most of the banks provide educational loan for commercial pilot license training. But the problem comes when a student approaches a bank and asks or tells them that he wants a loan for a commercial pilot license training. Most of the people who are watching the video, if you have approached a bank, you might have faced one problem, that the employees are not well versed with the policy of the bank. And in such cases, the employees sometimes what they say is that we don't provide loan for commercial pilot license. We have never even heard of such a course before, and the bank might never have issued education loan for a commercial pilot license student, that specific branch. So they might not be aware whether the bank's policy allows them to disperse or provide an education loan for a commercial pilot license training. In such a case, for an example, I'll show you this. What you can do is you can visit the website of that specific bank. In our case, we'll take the Bank of Baroda. Now you can see that we are on the education loan page of the Bank of Baroda website. You can see that such as the Bank of Baroda is providing education loan under different policy to different students. There are different schemes of different banks under which they provide loans to different category of students. So you have to look for, or if you cannot find specifically which category which you will belong to, you can look for all the categories and try to find the eligibility criteria for whom this scheme of education loan applies to. So in our case, you can see the Bank of Baroda Gyan. If I go towards no more and I go towards the eligibility, you can see on your screens that this allows regular degree diploma courses like aeronautical pilot training, shipping, etc., approved by the Director General of Civil Aviation Diagonal Shipping. So similarly, if you can just visit and see the policy of the education loan of that specific bank, you will find that that bank provides educational loan for commercial pilot license training or not. Now the another question that arises is that if there are multiple banks, to which bank should we go for to get an educational loan? Now, this answer is not objective. This is a subjective answer, because generally the banks provides loans to people to whom they personally know. The employees or the manager, let's just say that you or your parents or your guardians have an account in a specific bank. Let's just say ICICI, and you have been maintaining this account from past 10, 15, 20 years. So now you have a history with the bank, and with such a time that you have passed, your parents or guardians might know some people in the bank. Going to the bank in which you have your relations would be the best choice for you, as when you apply for an educational loan, the banks do not work like machines. There are people work for the people who they like or who they know. So now once you know people inside the bank, the educational loan process for you will be hassle-free, or which would be comparatively much easier to a bank where you don't know anyone. The next factor that you must take into account for choosing a bank is that whether the bank is a nationalized bank or a private bank, because the rate of interest for a nationalized bank and a private bank are slightly variable. The private banks charge comparatively a higher rate of interest than the nationalized banks, who provide at marginal rates of interest to students. The main difference that you will find with the nationalized banks and the private banks is that most of the nationalized banks will provide you with the facility of moratorium period, which we talked about initially, while the private banks would at least require you to start as soon as the loan amount is disbursed to your account or your institute's account. They will start at least charging you the interest of that specific EMI rather than adding the principal amount as well. Or the bank policy might not even allow that, and you must be required for an educational loan to start paying your EMI as soon as the amount is disbursed. While the national banks will allow you a moratorium period in which you are not supposed to pay any EMI, or you can choose at your will that you want to start to pay the EMI or the interest, just the interest amount, leaving the principal, or with the principal the whole EMI. This choice you will have with the nationalized bank. So just be conscious of the policy of the bank, whether you would be requiring a moratorium period or not. Would be another factor that will decide which bank should you go for. Now, the banks generally provide loans in two ways. Either the loan can be a secured loan, or either the loan can be an unsecured loan. In secured loan, what you are supposed to do is you are supposed to mortgage a property against the amount that you are taking, which is a security for the bank, that in case you are not able to repay the loan, so they can actually recover the value of the loan amount from your property by selling it and auctioning it. And while in the unsecured loan is provided based just on the income tax return of the two co-applicants or guarantors that will be there with you for applying your educational loan. So yes, you cannot apply for your educational loan without two co-applicants or guarantors, and you need people with you to apply for educational loan that will be acting as guarantors, that in case you are unable to pay, the people who are co-applicant with you will have to repay the loan to the bank. The unsecured loans always have a bar. Some banks do not provide unsecured loans of more than 10 lakhs or 15 lakhs or 20 lakhs. So if you want a loan of a higher amount, it is highly likely the case that you will have to opt for a secured loan. If you are opting to get a secured loan, the application process to get a secured educational loan would look something like this: that you go to a bank, you apply for educational loan, you get your legal search done, you get your valuation of your property done. Based on the valuation and legal search, the bank will decide whether they can actually accept your application or they will have to reject it. Once your bank accepts your application, the loan will not be disbursed until and unless the mortgaging of your property is done. So what you're supposed to do is you are supposed to mortgage your property. You are supposed to pay the application fees, the legal scrutiny report fees, the valuation scrutiny report fees. You are supposed to pay again for the mortgage of the property, and this will be the another cost that you will have to incur to get an educational loan. Once your property is mortgaged and your loan is accepted, then only the bank will disburse the amount to your institute's account. Now, before taking an educational loan, with the application, you are also supposed to have an offer letter from your institute. You must be eligible, you must have got an admission into that institute, and you must have the fee structure letter from that institute. Otherwise, you cannot apply for your educational loan, because the bank needs to know whether you have been given an admission and how much specific amount you will be needing for your application. And once you choose to opt for a secured loan, now there are two things that will come with a secured loan. Property that you will have to mortgage to get the loan will be valued and would be put through legal scrutiny, and by making a legal search report which an advocate makes. Different banks have different criteria of valuing your property as well, and based on the value of your property, the loan amount will be disbursed to you. Let's just say you are mortgaging a property, the value of which is about 25 lakhs. Different banks have different policies. Some banks say that we just will accept or give a loan for 80% of the value of the property. So for an example, if the value of the property was 25 lakhs, the 80% that would be 20 lakhs. The maximum loan that you would be able to get from that bank would be of 20 lakhs. Now, this is the valuation part of the property. The second part comes with the legal scrutiny, and here where the game of the nationalized and the private banks come into play. And we see that why private banks charge a higher rate of interest while the nationalized bank charge a lower rate of interest. So nationalized banks actually require your papers to be thorough. They require that you must have the papers which link to a chain of past 30 years. Like from past 30 years, this property has been transferred from whom to whom and how you have acquired this property. These search papers are required to be submitted from your side so that a legal scrutiny can be done whether the property legally belongs to you or not. While in the case of private banks, a legal search report of past 13 to 15 years, again, subjective to the policy of that specific bank, can be made to make sure that the property is yours. The nationalized banks scrutinize and value your property very thoroughly. They will pick even the minutes of the points and try to find the points where they can just reject your loan. While on the other hand, the private banks might be on some linear side and might try to see that how can they actually provide you the loan, how they can actually twist around the corners and play around with your papers and see that how can they actually provide you for your loan. So it is my advice that before you are trying to apply for educational loan, what you must do is that you go to the bank, you request to the manager or the person who is in charge of the educational loan that, sir or ma'am, I would highly request you to kindly share your advocate's number so that we can once go and meet him prior to paying the fees of getting the legal search done. Prior to paying the fees, can we just go and check and meet the advocate and just tell him and show him the papers that we have, and he will let us know whether a legal search report can be made for this specific property from his side or not, or can we get a loan on this property or not. Most of the banks or the employees who would be kind enough to give you the number of the advocate, and the advocates also needs to be kind enough to give you their time to make sure that your property will not be rejected in the legal search and you will be saved from paying the cost of valuation and legal search just by asking whether you can just, before applying, you can go and meet the advocate. Now, till now that we have discussed that there are different parts of educational loan. There is secured, unsecured, what is moratorium period. Now we have also seen that how to decide which bank should we go for. We have also seen that different types of educational loan and which educational loan we need to go towards, which banks actually apply loan for your commercial pilot license training. While the educational loan provides you with benefits such as moratorium period and subsidized interest rates, but the complex process of application is also there. You can also take a personal loan, but the personal loan interest rate are very high. There will be no facility of such as moratorium period and you will have to immediately start repaying your loan once the amount is disbursed by the bank. As now you have the basic awareness of how education loan for CPL would look like, you can plan your financials according to the academy that you're trying to choose. Now there is another portal which is known as the Vidya Lakshmi portal, which is there and which is taken the initiative by the government, which is there to help the students to get easily educational loan. But it is my personal suggestion that prior to applying for your educational loan via Vidya Lakshmi portal, you must visit a bank once and get the all process done. You try to know their policy, you try to know each and everything about how much moratorium period will be there, if you are taking a loan of this much amount, how much EMI will be there, what are the different repayment options that you will be having with that specific bank. And once you have known each and everything, then you are sure that the bank will allow your application, then you can move ahead and fill your application in the Vidya Lakshmi portal so that you are aligned with the bank's policy and you are sure that your loan application will be processed by the bank. In the end, I would like to introduce you to one more company which is known as We Make Scholars. I came to introduction with the We Make Scholars when I was trying to apply for my educational loan, and We Make Scholars is basically a government aided company which works and which helps the student to to get an educational loan. They have tie-ups with the bank. You can visit their website and apply for a consultation, and they will help you in every way possible to get an educational loan and try to get you the best deal possible as well. This is not sponsored or nothing, no intimation has been given by VMake scholars to me. With my deepest concerns of the work that they have, I am taking their name in this video so that you can also get an assistance from them to apply for an educational loan. Now you are empowered with basic knowledge, and so that you can actually choose that which bank you need to go for, how can you actually start the application process of your educational loan for your commercial pilot license training. If you have any further doubts about the process of educational loan, or you want me to make a video on the different scholarships that are there for commercial pilot license students for doing your pilot training, I would make another separate video for that as well. If you have any further doubt, do let us know in the comments down below, and we'll try to solve them as soon as we can. It is our endeavor that we deliver you the best content possible. We are trying our best to give you the best content possible. We are researching and we are trying to give you most authentic content, and we are trying to provide you with quality content which will definitely help you in your commercial pilot license training. Subscribe to our channel, like, comment, and also share, which will help us grow, which will also be a motivator to us to work more harder and provide you with better content with better quality and quantity as well. This is Animesh Sanyal signing off. Bye bye.